All right, cool, coach. Well, uh, everybody know who Coach Cantu is, but at the same time, they really don't know. So, hey, coach, why don't you introduce yourself real quick and let everybody get it,
So I'm Coach Noe Cantu. I'm the head basketball coach at San Antonio Cole High School. Been there for the last 5 years. So this will actually be my sixth year here in San Antonio. I'm originally from Victoria. Coached at Victoria West for about 6 years before I came here to San Antonio to be the head coach. So had a good run of things, and here we are, another year, getting ready to get going.
and I appreciate you being modest right now. But I'm gonna read some of your accolades since you've been here, and like I sent you the little text I sent you. Hey, as I was going over my little research, I'm kind of like at amazed, like wow, you really you came here and did and took over a school program and really put them back on the map and did a great job. But like you said, this is being your going to be your fifth year, correct? Or 6 year, excuse me. And you went 4 years to the state tournament. I don't
Mhm.
think it's a school in San Antonio that can say that right now, correct?
Yeah, I think as far as on the guys side, I don't think any school in San Antonio has been there 4 years in a row. I don't quote me on that, but as far as UIL basketball, I don't think any guys team has been to state tournament 4 years in a row.
Two-time state champions, 2020 co-champions with I believe it was Dallas
Dallas
Madison,
Madison.
correct?
Yeah.
Correct.
Yeah.
And then 2021, you guys actually won it all.
Mhm.
So that was a great accomplishment for you and your boys. Also, you're the NFHS Texas Basketball Coach of the Year for 2021.
Mhm.
And also you're a guest speaker for the Texas High School Coaches Association. Hey, can you
Yeah.
elaborate on that one a little bit more? Tell us about that one.
Yeah, so I've been a guest speaker at a coaching school. It's been here in San Antonio, so it's a kind of big old convention for all coaches across Texas. What they do is they kind of all meet here in San Antonio, the Henry B. Gonzalez over the building over there. And so what they do is it's for all sports. I think they had something like 60,000 coaches there this year. It's from all coaches around Texas, and so
That's
um,
awesome.
guest speakers in all sports, football, basketball, baseball, track. I think, Kirby Smart talked for football, national champion over there. I know Nick Saban's talked. Basketball wise, this year they had Kelvin Sampson from University of Houston. They had UT Arlington. So they usually get some big time speakers that come down as far as college, and they'll ask a couple high school coaches to give a lecture or a demonstration. So we've been fortunate enough to be asked for the last 3 years. So yeah, we did that again this year. It's always pretty fun just to kind of meet new coaches, just different coaches from not just San Antonio, but just around the state, from everywhere, up from the Panhandle all the way down to the Valley, and just everywhere in between. So just meeting new coaches, getting to meet those guys in person, because you hear about a lot of programs on Twitter and social media, but to actually kind of meet these guys in person, it's always really cool. It's always really humbling too, just to be asked to present at a convention like that.
That would be. That would be.
And can real quick, can
Go
you
ahead.
elaborate? Because I know that I've heard of like the TABC, and what
Mhm.
was the name of that? What's the name of that organization that you speak at?
So this is Texas high school coaches. So TABC is that's direct. That's like Texas Association of Basketball Coaches. That's just like basketball. It's just straight basketball. So that's like an organization just designed for basketball coaches. THSCA, that's an organization for all coaches. So this is more of a total athletics program deal compared to TABC, which is just straight geared to just basketball.
Nice. So you have coaches, probably like volleyball coaches and
Mhm.
tennis coaches, all high school. So it's a much bigger audience. So nice.
Yeah, very, very big. And like I said, they do a good job at THSCA, because they'll bring in guest speakers for all sports. I know they do track and everything. Football, basketball, baseball, cross country. So it's a really big convention where a lot of coaches come down for a weekend.
And I mentioned a number earlier, but what's like the biggest crowd that you've spoken in front of?
Oh, I mean, that was just the total amount. I think there's like 60,000 coaches like all together at that convention. But when we present, there's a couple hundred people, a couple hundred people, and it's usually obviously all basketball coaches. So I know this year we did a court demonstration. So they actually have a court. We kind of run a practice. Coaches will kind of sit down, kind of watch what we do. Last year, we actually did a court demonstration, but we also did a lecture. So we were in a lecture hall with a big lecture hall, big audience there, and did like a PowerPoint and things like that. So there's different kind of speaking engagements that they give you, but this year we only did an on-court demonstration. But last year we did a lecture and an on-court.
Nice.
Coach, you staying busy over there.
Yeah,
So,
I think, yeah, when you, it's kind of a good thing and a bad thing, right? I think when you win some things, and everybody kind of wants to, you got a lot of engagements that you have over the summer. But I know, I guess that's a good thing, when you lose, and I don't think anybody really wants to talk to you too much. So we've been blessed to be in some good situations.
So since you mentioned that, as far as you're winning a lot over there, let's talk about that a little bit. What do you, again, you have some very talented players from your runs every year, but what do you really contribute to the success you've been having every year?
It's kind of like what you just said. I mean, obviously you got to have really good players to win. I don't ever want to sit up here and tell you that I'm some great coach, because we got some of the best players, whether it's in San Antonio or in the state. We've had some of the best players in the country at one point with Vince. So, I mean, you got to have a lot of talent to have success. We've certainly had that. But I think one of the biggest things that we talk about is just having a lot of sacrifice. I think when you have a lot of talent, especially nowadays, kids, kind of all about themselves and their numbers and their stats and their exposure and things like that. I think we've kind of been able to break it down to where, it's much more about the team success rather than the individual success. Because of their sacrifice, we've had a lot of team success. And so I tell them all the time, I said, look, if you want individual recognition, you got to win. You go to regional tournaments or you go to state tournaments, you win state championships, you're going to get that individual recognition that you want. So it's kind of like works both ways. I think sometimes the kids think, well, I got to score 20 points to be noticed. But I mean, that's nothing if you're not having success. So I think they've bought into winning. And they know that winning is going to lead to individual exposure. Okay.
Well, that leads to my next question. How are we looking this year, Coach? Let's talk about that. What you think? How far are we going this year? You can be honest. It's okay.
I really don't know. That's going to be all dependent on those guys. Obviously we lost a lot of talented guys, and we got 3 guys that left that are currently on Division I rosters. You could look them up right now. So we got 3 guys on Division I rosters that left. So that's a lot of talent to leave. But I like the group that we have. They're extremely talented. A lot of people don't know much about them, and I think that's more or less because we've had such talented players in front of them. And I used to tell people all the time, I'm like, we got some good guys, but people don't know because we've had great players in front of them. So I think this is a great chance for those young guys to kind of make a name for themselves, because they've kind of been waiting for this. They've been waiting for this moment and this time, and now it's here. But really, our success is going to be determined, how much work they put in, how much sacrifice they want to do, how much, how hard they're going to work. I think the talent's there for us to be successful. But I've been around a lot of talented teams that underachieve. So it's really going to kind of be a mixture of how hard they work, and how much they want it.
Okay. So leading to my next question. Name some of the guys we need to be looking for this year, or looking at this year while you guys are playing because one thing you do a great job at, you do a tough fall schedule. Yeah. I used to always just look at you and be like, why, Coach? But I see why. Again, your proof's in your pudding over there. So who we need to be looking out for?
So we got 2 guys that started all of last year, and they're back. So we got James Livingston, and then we got Kenny Atunrasi. So they both started as sophomores last year. They got a lot of experience. I think being able to play on a state championship team, get to the state championship, play major minutes, I think that's kind of like people really underestimate just how important that is. James hit 2 big threes in the state championship game. Kenny had 10 points and 8 rebounds in the state championship game. And I mean, when you have those kind of numbers at the highest level in the most pressured situation, they're probably going to have a lot of confidence coming into this year that most people won't. So we're looking for them to kind of hopefully be some leaders this year, stand out for us and help us lead Then we got Marcel. He's about 6'6". He's another guy. He got in the state championship game. He probably played about 5 or 6 minutes, which is if you really think about it, that's good minutes in a state championship game. So he played about 6 minutes. He was on the bench last year a lot, kind of a role player. But he's got great height, great length. He's really put a lot of time in this offseason. So I'm looking forward to him doing some big things. Then we got some young guys that, kind of played on the JV, but, once again, like I would tell people, some of the guys on JV probably shouldn't have been on JV, but they had to because we had such great players on our varsity. And so like Asian, Hassan Ratana, Logan, Beckstrom, they were on the JV. Our JV didn't lose a district game. Shoot, they even beat some of the 6A JVs that we played against. But like I said, they really weren't JV players. They probably should have been on the varsity, but they weren't going to get any minutes with the players that we had. So those guys, even though they didn't play a lot of varsity games, we got them in as much as we could. But I think they're going to be really good because, like I said, they were extremely talented. But like I said, we've just had some good guys in front of them. So those 5 will hopefully lead the way for us. And then we got a couple young guys that I like. They're going to have to develop and get better. And so, like I said, whoever kind of rises to the top and all that's going to get the minutes.
So you mentioned Kenny. Real quick, if I'm correct, he's a football player also, right? I think he's like one of the top receivers or tight ends in the state of Texas. Am I right?
Yeah. So Kenny I think he's one of the few guys that we got playing football.
Okay.
But great thing, I think, he's perfect for us. We got a lot of guys that are straight basketball guys. And that's great, and they spend a lot of time in the gym. But I think what Kenny brings to us is he brings obviously a lot of toughness. I mean, that guy, if you see him in person, he looks like a man. He is a scary looking kid. He's probably about 6'3", 220 pounds, and there is not an ounce of fat on him at all. So he is a big boy, and he is very mean and very physical, and he's exactly what we need. And yeah, definitely football is his first love and his first passion. So we obviously support him in that. And we don't bother him too much, especially during football season. We want him to focus on that. Once he gets done with football, we'll be looking forward to having him with us. But yeah, he is one of the top tight ends, defensive ends in the state. And I would not be surprised if he picks up some offers on the football field here recently, because there's not many guys in high school that look like him that are walking around.
So that leads to a good question in reference to how do you juggle that? I know I talked to the Blancos coach in reference to how does he juggle, because he is the actual football coach also. But how do you juggle the players playing football and playing basketball for you guys? Because, being 3A.
For us, we don't have a lot of them. We don't have a lot of guys that play football. A lot of our guys, they play straight basketball. So we try to keep them busy. If they're just going to play basketball, we're going to keep them as busy as possible. And that's why we're in summer leagues, we're in summer tournaments, fall leagues, fall tournaments. And even though this might not be our total varsity team, because we do got a couple guys that play football, keep them occupied as much as we can. I think, whether they're playing football, if they're playing football, that's great. They're going to a practice every day. They're competing every week. And so that's what we want. I think what happens is when you're not in your season, like our basketball guys, obviously it's not basketball season right now. I still want them competing. I still want them working out every day, just like they were. So we keep them busy. And then obviously when football gets done, they'll join right in. But the great thing for us is, I've been there for 5 years. So a lot of those guys that come from football, they already know the system. They know the practice routine. They know the drills. So there's not much like having to teach them so much. It's more or less just kind of getting them acclimated to get in basketball shape and having a basketball in their hands.
That's again, I think one program wise, you're one of the few programs that, all year round, you allow your gym to be open all year round. I remember I heard you on another pod, and you were mentioning that how you do allow your gym to be open. Do you kind of credit that to the preparation for your season of play, or it's just a total encompassing, just them believing in the program?
Well, it's two ways. I'm like any other coach here, in the summertime, I want my time and I need to get away. But, also too, man, I think when you've got kids that want to be in the gym, I think the right message is, okay, if you want to get in, I'll open it for you, And
Right.
so that kind of lets them know that, okay, we need to work. We can work. There is somewhere to work. There's no excuses for me not to work. I think sometimes kids can't get in the gym and it gives them an excuse to kind of not do anything and be lazy. But for us, our gym's pretty much always open. I'm always going to open that thing unless I'm out of town, which is not too much, or I'll find a way to get that thing open. So I think what it tells our guys is that, there's no excuses for our guys. If you didn't work out in the summer, you didn't come to the gym, that's not on me, that's on you, because this place was open. So, usually when we come back in October for practice, if you were in the gym, that's great. And if you weren't, that's also on you too as well.
All right.
So are y'all back in school?
Yeah. So we just started. We last week was our first week of school. So we've been through 1 week already.
And what's the basketball players like? Are you having open gym after school right now, or what's the typical day look like for some of the basketball players at your school right now?
Yeah, so like right now, it's like on Monday, Wednesdays, Fridays, we'll lift the whole period. Big on that, and we lift throughout the season as well, whether it's day before a game, day after a game, or whatever. I always want our guys to be in top shape. I know some coaches don't want to lift as much during the season. We'll taper off the weights as far as how much we lift during the playoffs, but we're going to lift, and I think it's just a kind of a physical thing for us. Just want our guys to be extremely physical, have a lot of confidence going out there playing against better people, bigger schools, whatever. So we lift. Right now, we're lifting Monday, Wednesday, Friday. When the season starts, when we're allowed to practice officially, we'll just lift on Mondays and Wednesdays. But since kind of the preseason, you would say, before basketball starts, we're lifting right now Monday, Wednesday, Friday. Tuesday and Thursday, we're doing some agility, plyometric stuff, some of the things that, I've learned over the years, been to a lot of different colleges and kind of see their workouts and what they do. So we do a lot of plow boxes, heavy jump ropes, medicine ball stuff, some shuffling drills, some ladders, just a whole bunch of agility type stuff to kind of get them as much as athletic as they can be heading into the season. And then we do an open gym Monday, Wednesdays, and Thursdays, sometimes Friday. I mean, Monday, Tuesday, Thursday, sometimes Friday. So pretty much the gym's gonna be open after school, except for on Wednesdays. Kind of let them do their thing, go home or whatever. So once again, there's really not an excuse to they're going to get a good workout during this class period, but then after school that gym's open, so there's no excuse not to get in there.
Nice. So like right now, as we speak, then school's been in session for a week, but for a lot of the basketball players, once school is out, they have the ability to go to the gym and put some shots up.
Absolutely.
Cool.
All right, Coach, 2 more questions, then we're gonna let you go because I know you're busy. Get your week ready for school next week. As far as your fall schedule, what's probably one of the best events you're going to probably do that the boys can look forward to?
We're going to go to that I-35 showdowns here in one's in San Antonio, one's in Round Rock with Alamo City Hoops. Antonio does a good job of bringing in. He brings in teams from all over the state, all over Texas, which is really good for us because we kind of don't want to play the same guys. Love playing new guys. Just to challenge our guys. So those are going to be really tough. And then we're going to play in the Gasso. There's a Gasso here in San Antonio. I think it's in September something. So we're going to play in that. Anytime you play in a Gasso, obviously there's going to be great teams in there. And we're always going to I'm not going to say a disadvantage, but, we're always, probably the only 3A school in these events. A lot of these events is pretty much strictly 5A, 6As. I think a lot of that has to do with, 5A, 6As, you got a lot of straight basketball guys, but so do we. So that's why we get in these events. But also too, I think sometimes maybe 3As or schools that are smaller, they don't want to play against teams like this because maybe they're scared of losing or something. But, for me, I don't care whether we win or lose, and especially in the fall or the summer. I mean, that doesn't mean anything to me. I look at them as they're free games. And so if we can play the best competition we can play, and if we lose some games, it's fine. It's not going on our record or anything, if we win, that's great. But I think, having your guys competing against better players and better teams, that'll serve you in the long run for sure.
I think it's really cool to see you play in those events. I've seen you playing them over the years, and you mentioned like the Alamo City Hoops event, the I-35 showdown. When is that? Is that coming up here pretty soon?
Yeah, I think the one in San Antonio is like September 17th. I think there's a Gasso on the 24th, and then like October 1st, there's another I-35. It's in Round Rock, so we'll be at all of those actually.
So in like here in about another month or so, your high school guys will be playing in those events, and those are some of my favorite kind of events because I know that we always see like the grassroots and AAU tournaments and stuff, but it's cool to see kind of these high school tournaments where it's almost like a little combination of like it's got almost a grassroots feel to it,
Right.
but it's the actual high school teams. And I like seeing teams like yours, 3A, play against some of these big names because in a regular, season, we would never see anything like that. Um, and I think that those type of games and those type of events need a little bit more attention because although they're not like in season UIL games or whatever, you still basically have like the high school teams and pretty much complete rosters minus a few football guys here and there, but they get to square up. It'd be just like us having to wait till the season to see them play, but they actually have like their high school roster. So I get really excited about these high school team events like the I-35 showdown you mentioned and the Gasso events. So I think just people need to give those things more attention because you
Yes.
actually get a good look at the schools and their rosters and how their guys play because like I said, it's almost like that combination between like a grassroots or AAU. You gotta have that flexibility and that
Right.
fun, but you actually have like the high school team. So looking forward to see how you guys do and see what kind of matchups you guys get.
Yeah, for sure. We're always excited to play in those things. And like I said, it's pretty well run. And so we're excited to compete, against whoever we compete against. And I tell those guys, whether it's Blue at the Gasso or Antonio, it's like, man, I don't care who we play. You don't got to lighten up a schedule for us. We'll play whoever. I'm just worried about our guys getting better, especially in these events.
You ever call out for some of the 6A state champs or anything in
No, but
particular?
I just tell them like, we'll play against whoever. I mean, if you look at our non-district schedule, that's all we play is 6As anyways. So, we don't play pretty much anything but 6A, 5A or 6As in non-district. So, I've never turned down a game from a big school. I mean, that's for sure. I'll tell you this, I turned down a lot of games. There's a lot of 3A schools that want to play just because, obviously we're one of the top teams in 3As, but not that I'm trying to big time them or anything. It just goes back to like, I want to play guys that are better than us because I think that's going to help us. And these events certainly help us. And then, like I said, our non-district schedule is usually pretty tough. That'll help us in the long run.
All right, Coach. My last question. I'm gonna leave you alone. Let you get ready for the week. If you had a new coach that you were kind of mentoring or just giving some advice to a new high school basketball coach, and again, I know you had a lot of great talent, so getting in front of college coaches was very easy from that perspective. What advice would you give that young coach in reference to how to build relationships with college coaches to get them to possibly come to their schools and check out their talent?
College coaches, they're not going to come to your school unless you got players. Obviously,
Right.
we've been fortunate enough to have players that have been in our program. So we've had a lot of college. We've had almost anybody and everybody come to our school, and so that's been lucky for us. But I know one thing that I do all the time. Whether we have players or not. I've already talked to two college coaches just like 3 days ago. I think in about 2 weeks, I'm gonna go up to Baylor, watch them work out. I'm gonna go up to UT Arlington. I know some of those coaches really well because they've been through our program. And I just told them, I was like, hey man, can I go watch y'all work out for a day or two? I'm like, you don't got to do anything for me. Just get me in the gym. Let me sit down. Let me have my pen and paper. I just want to watch you guys work out, see what you guys do, see if I can learn anything from y'all. And obviously they, having those connections because I know them because of, they've been in our gym. That helps. But I think just being a willing learner, I think sometimes, we magically think college coaches are going to come to our gym or, you're just going to have this stud player that's going to be on your team. That's not always the case. And sometimes you got to go out there. You got to do things on your own. I can't tell you how many times I've emailed college coaches. I've emailed college coaches all over the country. Hey, can I come watch you work out? Can I spend a day with you guys? I've been to UTEP. I've watched them work out. Been to UNLV, watched them work out. Went to Arizona State a couple of years ago, watched them work out. So I'm constantly always trying to learn from guys that are way better than me. But I think that's one of the things that I would tell a young coach that wants to kind of get some college connections, and, you're going to email a lot of these college coaches, or 90% of them going to answer your email? Probably not, but there's be, 2 or 3 that may answer your email and be like, yeah, come on. And, whenever you get that answer, you got to go. And so I've done that. And I think over the years, I've met a lot of these coaches. And so now I'm on a good, basis with them, to where, if I want to go watch somebody work out, we can make it happen for sure.
Anything else for Coach?
No, it's been a great interview. Thanks for the time. Thanks for sharing your experience with us. And I did want to make a comment earlier. So you're starting your 6th year at Cole. You said you did 5 years at Victoria West. Was that was a different high school, I'm guessing?
Yeah, it's 5A here in Victoria.
Nice. So, you've got like at least 11 years, and you look real young. So keep up the good work. You got a lot of experience at the head coach level. So just wanted to kind of give you a shout out on that. That's it though.
Well, with that being said, Coach, anything else you want to mention about the program, or what we need to be looking for? Because everyone knows I'm your guide, to where I'll be following you. So, anything we need to know?
No, I think we'll surprise people. I think people assume that we're not going to be as good as we've been in the past, and we've lost a lot of talent. But I think what people underestimate a lot of times about teams is the culture, the work ethic, toughness that people have, the attention to detail. And I love where our guys are with all of those things. Our guys are always going to play hard. They're going to work really hard. They're dedicated. So I think we're going to surprise a lot of people that probably don't think we're going to be as good as we normally are. And it's also a great challenge for us and our guys. I think we've probably got a chip on our shoulder this year, because I think, people assume we're not going to be as good. So it's really kind of motivated us as a coaching staff and as a team. So I'm looking forward to the season. Hopefully, we can get back to a state tournament for the 5th year in a row, try to keep that thing going.
Hey, I appreciate it, Coach. Again, thank you again for coming on and just, taking the time out your day to just talk to us and, our viewers and everything. And again, I'll be watching you. I'm definitely going to try to come to a few of those practices, and I hope you don't mind me pulling my camera out and recording a little bit. I'll make sure I don't record too much, but I definitely will be out there, Coach. Thank you again.
Well, I appreciate you guys having me. You guys are doing a really good job. So keep up the good work, man. And like I said, thanks for having me on. Been following what you guys are doing. I think it's a really good thing. Just kind of talking to different high school coaches. So really appreciate you guys having me.
All right, Coach. Thanks.
All right. You guys have a great weekend.
You too.
You too.